Well, everyone, welcome back to the shop. Ed's Metalworks today. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to have a little bit different video, as they all are. We're going to go over my forge and some of the modifications I've made to my forge over the years and how I did it, and a few of the little items that go along with blacksmithing that I know of anyway. There's probably millions out there. But I'll share with you what I've done, and we'll just have a look at this forge, and I'll tell you how it works. Thanks for joining me. Okay, well, here's my forge. I'll get back a ways here so you can get a view of the stand. Currently I'm running off a 30-pound propane bottle. The dimensions in here are about 3 by 3. You can see I have a removable fire brick in part of it, so I can go up to about a 6 by 6, 5.5 by 5.5 area. And it's approximately, let me put a tape in here, 18 inches long. I have openings on each end that I have sliding fire brick. It slides in an 1.5-inch angle iron. You can see how that is top and bottom. The box itself is all like 10 gauge sheet metal. The 3 sides are welded together, and the top is a bolted in removable. The back side, same thing, sliding doors to close off the size of the opening if you need to. But then it's all on a 2-inch square tube frame. I've had a couple different burner configurations in here. First off, I started with 2 separate Venturi type burners, but they chew up propane like mad, and I had them spaced a little bit far apart from my forge, and I was always running a cold spot like right in the middle of my forge when I had a long piece of metal in there. So I built this in 2016, so it's a couple years ago I decided to modify it, and I went with a forced air type burner. This blower unit is off of an old power vent water heater, one that vents out the side of your house. Is actually ours. We had to replace it. It went bad, but the vent fan still works good. All the pipe is 2.5-inch exhaust pipe, of course with slip fittings. It all comes apart. I have a slip fitting down here so I can disconnect the fan when I turn it off, so the hot air don't flow back into the fan and cause any troubles. But my orifice is a 5/64. It's actually made out of I think a MIG gun tip that I drilled out. It's kind of experimental, where I was trying to get enough gas and airflow at the same time, but I kind of spaced the orifice to be right after this one bend, so that it was in a straight flow of air. And then it mixes it a little bit as it goes into the top of the burner. I do have a piece of sheet metal inside the pipe in the burner to kind of mix it a little more, to keep all the gas and air mixed up, to get from one end of the burner to the other. Of course, the stand has a support out here for longer objects. We can go out a couple feet on that. But the inside of the forge itself is built out of fire brick. You can see had full width fire bricks down there with 2.5 inch thick, I think they are. And I got full width on the sides, 2.5. And the top was made out of fire brick also, with holes bored in it for my Venturi type heaters. But when I went to this type burner, the forced air type burner, if you can see up in there, I'll try to get you a little better light here with the holes. And I actually built that burner in the new ceiling in my forge out of refractory cement. And I'll show you how I formed that all up for the new burner. This burner right here it's 10 inches long, and approximately it's a 3-inch piece of square tubing. But it is all removable. It just sits down in the top of the forge, and then all the pipes are, like I said before, just slip fit exhaust tubing. I think I bought a selection of, or a couple pieces that had different size bends from Speedway Motors, and I just cut out of them bends what I needed. But it all works pretty good. We'll light her up here in a little bit, but like I said, it's all 10 gauge sheet metal for the case. The top is removable. You take the bolts out, you take the burner itself out of there, but it seems to be a lot more efficient with this type forced air burner in it than it was with the Venturi ones. Although I do see a lot of Venturi ones. But I can turn down the pressure on my propane tank a little bit with this. I do have a regulator on the propane tank, and still get some good heat. Anyway, when I was talking about the fire brick, here's the fire brick, the two different sizes, the full width fire brick, and then the half width fire brick. That's what it's all, the bottom and the sides are made out of that. I bought these at the local fireplace store. They actually have it for lining fireplace. They have a couple different kinds. One's real dense and higher heat than another one's a little bit lighter and half the heat, or 1,000 degrees difference. I think one's like 3,000, the other one's like 2,000 degree heat. But when I redid my top of my forge, this part, it's 2.5 inches thick. I used refractory cement, and I got mine from it's called Plybrico. They're a local, I think they're nationwide. In fact, I know they are. But they're a commercial boiler maintenance supply place. They have refractories and your Insul wool and all that kind of good stuff. But this mortar has got a fiber in it. I think they might be even little steel shreds or like needles that are in there to help support it, because I wanted to have some support, being there was quite a span right here in my forge. But that refractory cement it really was easy to work with. I had a nice form built inside the forge. I just used this piece of plywood and supported it underneath to the height I wanted. And then I used this type of pink styrofoam, and I made the block the exact size of, or a little bit bigger size than my burner that was sitting down in there. And of course I covered this styrofoam with duct tape so that after the refractory cement set up, I had to break up this styrofoam, just peel it, you know, take it out in little chunks, and it came out with a good square hole the size of my burner. A little bit of filing on the edges to get the overflow off, but it worked good. This is my burner form here, forge burner form. I can't take credit for this. I've seen many of them made on YouTube before, but basically it's you take your mine is a 3-inch piece of square tubing, 10 inches long, and you cut this area out, or cut the area out in the bottom of your square tube, and cut your hole in the top for your entry. And then this sits down in here about a 1/2 inch in the form. I didn't cut this one off to sit in there, but you fill the form up. You can see the holes are drilled in there, and I used crayons because they're wax. Stuck down them in all the holes down there. Fill your form up with the refractory cement, and then set your square tube. You got to have a little support on here at the 1/2 inch mark, so your square tube will rest down in here. You'll get a little slop out of it, and then because this is filled to the top, your form's filled to the top, it flows up inside your square tube where you cut that hole out of the bottom, and it actually bonds it to the refractory. It worked out really well. Like I said, I can't take any credit for it. I've seen it on YouTube somewhere. I wish I could remember the couple websites I watched, but anyway, after that all hardens up, give it a few days to harden up good, then you can take it. I had to dismantle my form. It's all just screwed together with screws. Take it apart, and I drilled out all the crayons the best I could with it's a 5/16 drill bit, and use an old one because it grounded up pretty good. But then I put it in the oven. I put it in the oven I think I put it in the oven at 500 degrees for a couple hours, and this is like a week after I formed it to finish setting it up and drying it up. But it came out good. It did. First couple times I fired, I did some preheats too to cure the top part of my forge that I had poured with the same refractory cement, and I got quite a bit of moisture run out of there a couple times. I didn't ever come to full heat until about the 3rd time I fired it up. And then you got to get it good and hot to set it in, cure it in. But now it's real good. No cracks showed up or anything, so it came out real decent. I'm happy with it anyway. I do a few little small forge project. I'm no blacksmith by any means, but every now and then something comes up where I gotta use it, and it's handy to have. Like I said, we found this plan, or this way to make a burner on the internet, and I talked to a couple. There's a local glass blower. He put me on to this Plybrico place, which is here in town, to get me some this refractory. I wasn't sure where to buy it at, but it looks like it's made to be shipped if you have to ever find it, but I'm sure you could go, let's see, Plybrico, www.plybrico.com, and look on their website and see what they offer. But good people to deal with. They were real helpful. You know, they're used to bigger commercial customers than a guy walking in buying one bag of refractory. But in some of the cracks or spaces between the bricks, I just used this furnace cement, contractor grade furnace cement. That's available at Menards. These bricks, the smaller bricks, half-size bricks, are available at Menards too. But so all in all, came out real nice. I'm happy with it. It works good. It's fun to play with now and then. You like to play with it in the wintertime because my shop's pretty good size, so I don't worry too much about burning all the oxygen out of the air. But it's a nice furnace for the shop when you're running it. But like I said, the blower's from an old water heater and 2.5-inch exhaust tubing, 3-inch square tubing for the burner top. You can see how I support it with some 1.25-inch angle iron, so it just sits down in there. I want to put some insul wool all around the top here to help seal and keep the heat in there. But the stand makes it pretty much portable to move around the shop on the cement anyway. Only thing bad about having the forced air fan is you gotta have electricity to run it, where the Venturi type burners, you can run them anywhere. But that's pretty much the forge and the modifications I've made to it over the years. And now we'll talk about a couple other little things here. They call this, what do they call this? Like a blacksmith paste, blacksmith juice. It's kind of a protectant. I'll peel the top off of here. It's a wax, but when you heat your metal up a little bit and spread this on there and then wipe it off, it kind of seals it and helps protect it for a little while against the elements. So if you don't put paint on it or anything like that, I got one piece here that I did years ago, and of course it's been inside most of the time, but it ain't rusted at all. But anyway, it takes the turpentine and the linseed oil and a little bit of the Jap dryer, and then the wax you're supposed to use, they say to use beeswax or a toilet bowl ring. That's what I used, was a toilet bowl ring. But I think you can read it's equal amounts of everything except the Jap dryer, and you just put a little bit of that in there. That, I guess, helps set it up. But it stays, I did this can a long time ago, and it stays pretty pliable for a long time. You got to stir it up every now and then, but it does help protect. I built a couple outside plant hangers, and they're still pretty much rust free after hanging outside for maybe 10 years. But anyway, I hope you can see that. One thing you got to be careful, all this stuff is flammable, so I think I heated a pot up on just a hot plate, no flame, electric hot plate, and melted everything down and mixed it up. But don't put it on your gas stove in the kitchen. When I did to cure the burner after it was made, I did put, like I said, I put it in the oven for a while. But I do have an oven separate from, it's out in the garage. It's not used for anything but my projects, heating bearings up and baking some powder coating and stuff like this. So don't piss mama off when you do this kind of stuff. Anyway, here's just a few of my projects. This one here was actually made by my grandson. at about age 7. He was interested in that, and so we did a little project where we beat on some iron for a while, but of course I helped him a little bit, but he got the general idea of beating on the iron and forming, drawing it out and forming. These are just a couple simple little napkin holder rings, and this was quite a project. Took quite a while actually to draw it all out. It's all made out of one piece of 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch hot roll, and it's a fireplace poker or fire pit poker or whatever. Pretty fancy, but it was a fun little project. Same here, only a lot simpler. Not much forging on this one, or forge time on this one. Just had to split the end of this to make the hooks, but it's a fireplace poker. And then plant hangers. I've made dozens of these plant hangers over time. Pretty simple little deal. I burn up my 4x4. I had a 4x4 that you just form that leaf in after your metal's hot. Some guys will use a chisel and put some veins in that leaf, but it's personal choice, whatever you want to do with this stuff. But anyway, that's a few things I have around here right now. A lot of them are not here. They go out the door when I make them. And this is your blacksmith juice for preserving your work if you don't wish to put paint on it. I think the stuff always looks pretty nice not painted. You get a more original, or more of the blacksmith feel of it if it's not painted. But again, the refractory that I used to make my new forge top and my burner, and the bricks used in my forge, my forms that I used. So this stand here with the with the scrolls on it, that's my oil tank for when I build a couple swords for my grandkids. Probably not the thing to do anymore, but anyway, this is just a project they wanted to work on. So anytime they want to work on a project, I'm willing to stop and do it. But that's just my oil tank. But let me get a torch here and we'll light this thing off. We'll be right back. Alrighty, here we go. We'll sorry the camera's shaking there a little bit. We'll go ahead and light this thing off once and show you what it looks like. I got the propane turned on, and here's my valve up here. We'll light this and running approximately 12 psi on the propane, and it's already getting the fire break red, so it's a fun little tool to have. Someday when we can heat up the shop, we'll do a little beating on some iron, heat it up and beat on some iron out here. But this is approximately the location I work in. Got my forge right there, anvil right here, back into the forge, back to the anvil. So anyway, thank you all for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Hope it's a little bit informative. I'll throw some pictures in here at the end that I have on my phone for some of the process of putting the new top in there and building this burner. So again, thanks for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you will. Tell your friends about it. Subscribe. I hope to not waste your time. Thank you very much. Bye.